Here are 7 things you need to know before buying a home in Smyrna, Georgia. Right away, one of the first things you need to know is that there's a very wide range of ages of homes here. One of the reasons for that is because Smyrna is kind of an older city that has had a lot of recent revitalization. The city has done a lot of recent work on the town center and the parks and the infrastructure. And so all of this new construction that they've been doing in the city means that there's also a lot of new homes, new construction homes there as well. So you have a mix of these older homes from like the 40s and 50s, 60s, and then you also have new construction homes here in Smyrna. So like 2010s, 15, 2020s. So very different ages of homes here. And of course, this is reflected in the price. And there are different things that you should know for each one of these, the older homes and the newer homes. What's up, y'all? My name is Victor with Atlanta Suburban Living, and we put out videos every week about what it's like to live here in Atlanta and the surrounding suburbs. The next thing you should know before you buy a home here is the different parts of Smyrna and where in Smyrna you should buy a home. So when it comes to what part of the city you want to live in, we can see that Smyrna is in the northwest part of Metro Atlanta, and there are a few different parts of the city of Smyrna. So let's take a look at the map here real quick. One part that you really need to know about is this corner over here, where it's the intersection of Highway 41 and 285. This is where very close to here is the Truist Park. This is where the Atlanta Braves play. This is where the Battery is. And so this area where the Battery is, there's a lot of like shopping and restaurants, very mixed use kind of area. Any home in this part of Smyrna is going to have a lot of demand. Home prices are certainly going to increase very quickly. This is a very high demand part of Smyrna to live in. And then this area on Atlanta Road is where the like city center of Smyrna is. And so of course, any home around here also going to be very desirable. Now this here is Dobbins Air Reserve Base. And so there's not a whole lot of planes going in and out of here, no commercial planes, but there are quite a few military like flight training planes all around this area almost every day. And so if you had a home close to this airport, dealing with that noise would certainly be something that you want to try to stay away from. And so having a home around here, probably not super advisable in that area. And then another area that I don't think is super popular, this area here along east-west connector close to the hospital. Again, not my favorite area. And so this is not really a super popular part of the town. The majority of the revitalizing of the city and where you're really seeing a big influx of new construction homes and people are starting to move more and more to the city of Smyrna is happening close to the city center of Smyrna and on this side of town close to the Truist Park or the Battery. Another thing you definitely need to know about if you plan on buying a home here in Smyrna is how much buyer competition there is here. For all of Metro Atlanta, in the last 60 days, the average amount of time that a home is on the market before finding a buyer is about 14 days. In Smyrna, it's about 16 days. So it's a little less buyer competition in Smyrna than the average of Metro Atlanta as a whole. Compare this to other cities like Alpharetta, where the average amount of days on market for a listing is 7 days, or Johns Creek, where it's like 8 days. And you can really see that Smyrna has a lot less buyer competition than some of these other suburbs. So you have less multiple offer situations. You don't have to like overpay for homes or for the listing price. You don't have to pay higher than the listing price in Smyrna because there's not as much buyer competition here. So definitely makes it a lot easier for buying a home here because of the amount of buyer demand. And then when it comes to the average price for a home in Smyrna, one of the biggest factors that determines that is the age of the homes. Again, we have really older homes here and we have much newer homes, but the average for all of Smyrna in the last 6 months has been $535,000. You certainly can find homes for a lot less, closer closer to 300, 350,000, but these are going to be some of the older homes. If you're looking at homes that are from 2010 or newer, you're looking at least $600,000 for a home. So again, very different price ranges and very different age ranges. The fifth thing that you need to know before buying a home here in Smyrna is what to look for in older homes. And then number 6 is going to be what to look for with new construction homes in Smyrna. So when it comes to older homes, one common thing that we have a lot here in Georgia is homes on a crawl space. While it's not bad to have a home on a crawl space, for many people this is preferable. You do have to look out for a few things with crawl spaces. Now, if you don't have crawl spaces where you're from, really quick, this is just like instead of a basement, instead of the house being on a basement, imagine a space that is below the home like a basement, but it's not for living in. It's just like you literally can only crawl in it. It's only about 3 feet of space instead of a whole 8-foot room. And this is often done to keep the home off the ground. Well, it's not done very much anymore. It used to be done in the 70s and 80s here in Metro Atlanta. And again, it keeps the home off the ground. This prevents water from getting into the home, prevents bugs from getting into the home. And so these crawl spaces were really popular back then and are still commonly found in Smyrna. Now, a common problem that you find in crawl spaces is water in the crawl space. While it does prevent the water from getting into the home, you can still find that water problem in the crawl space. And so this is controlled by having either a sump pump or you have like French drains around or inside the crawl space to divert that water away from the crawl space. But either way, you don't want a wet crawl space. And so there are many companies all around Georgia that handle these kinds of problems because it is so common and certainly something that you want to look out for. Another common issue with older homes, especially in Smyrna, is when there are trees close to a home, they tend to drop those leaves onto the roof. This deteriorates a roof much more quickly than if there aren't trees overhanging a roof. Instead of having 30 years lifespan for a roof, you're looking at 15 years lifespan for a roof if the trees are constantly dropping leaves on there and it's holding the water on top of the roof. So this can definitely hinder the lifespan of a roof anywhere in Georgia, but also in Smyrna. And then number 6 on the list is when you're buying new construction homes for Smyrna and for any part of Georgia. When you're buying new construction, it's very different than buying a home that has already been built. One of those big differences is that there's going to be deadlines for like when the house is going to be built or when these things are going to be completed. And so the deadlines for new construction are always past due. I've never seen a new construction home builder be on time. They're always a little bit past due, so certainly something to keep in mind. And then when it comes to a deposit, when you're buying a home anywhere in Georgia, you will have to put down a deposit. For a home that is already built, that deposit is usually about 1%, and the closing attorney holds that deposit. With new construction, it's very different. You have a deposit of sometimes 5 to 10%, and the new construction company holds that deposit. So it's a lot more difficult to get that deposit back if something goes wrong. So 2 very different issues there. And then also with new construction, many of them have preferred lender bonuses. So if you use their lender, they will give you a discount on the home or they will pay for your closing costs. So very helpful when you're buying new construction homes. And then number 7 on the list is the price of homes in Smyrna over the last 5 years. Are home prices going up or down, or, at what rate are they changing? So let's take a look at that. In 2020, for all of Smyrna, the average home price was $385,000. And then we had the biggest jump up in 2021. I think this can be the same for pretty much everybody in the country, that 2021 really had a big jump up in home prices. So the average price in Smyrna went up to $460,000. In 2022, went up to $490,000. 2023 stayed the same at about $490,000. And then so far this year for 2024, we're looking at $535,000. So overall, I'd say this is a slight increase. This is not a drastically increasing kind of city. Again, less buyer demand here means that the home prices are steadily increasing instead of increasing very quickly. But the biggest factor for whether or not you want to move here is going to be what this city feels like, what it looks like on the ground. And the best way to do that is to come visit and see the downtown area. Of course, if you're in another state or another country, very difficult to come all the way to Smyrna just to see what the downtown area is like. So I made an entire video where I went on a tour of the city. You can check it out right here. I'll see you in the next one.